Hi guys, I'm Kat Jovi and welcome to Top 10 Nerd. There are a lot of ways that superheroes get their powers. Radioactive something or another, exposure to an item from another planet, scratches or bites from a mythical creature, magical items, technology, just born that way, etc, etc. But today we're going to focus on the top 10 superheroes who got their powers from demons. Let's start out at number 10 with Hellboy. Now, technically we don't really know how he's created or got his powers, but he was summoned through a portal from Hell to Earth by a Nazi cult, attempting to tip the scales during World War II in their favor, so, we can assume. Thankfully, their enemies, the Allies, found the Red Baby before they could get their hands on him and taint him into their evil ways. The Allies decide to call him Hellboy, and then the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, BPRD, is born. One Professor Trevor Bruttenholm spearheads the organization and takes Hellboy under his wing, sort of like a son. He's definitely a father figure to him. On account of being from Hell, he has a few demonic advantages. He has the right hand of doom, this huge stone hand that's great for smashing things. He can lift really heavy things, like over a ton. He heals very quickly, and he's exceptionally hard to hurt. Number 9 is Sebastian Faust. He's the son of an evil magician, Felix Faust, who appeared in Justice League of America in 1962. He taught his son how to harness the power of demons. Later on, his father put his son's soul in a bargain with a demon. This demon's name was Nebiros. Sebastian thought it was a mystic rite. Then the demon tricked Felix and gave the power to initiate magic to Sebastian instead, so it worked out for him. And then from then on, he's able to tap into soul magic. As you might imagine, he ends up with quite a lot of powers. He can project magical energy as well as energy shields, he has healing, he can morph, teleport between shadows, tap into people's souls to gain their power, or feed mana from them for casting spells. He can possess people, cast illusions, the list goes on and on and on. There's lots of episodes. At number 8, we have another that is the handiwork of Nebiros. His name is the Blue Devil. He started out life as a stuntman named Daniel Cassidy, who was working for the movies and was working on a movie called, you guessed it, Blue Devil. So in it, he wears this exoskeleton suit for the character. It has built-in pyrotechnic devices, and it's really cool. He's a top-notch guy, super smart. But then a real devil, the one who gave us his powers, is freed from a temple nearby to where the set is that they're filming. And he gets a hit of demonic energy, a big blast of it, and then it magically bonds the suit to him. But on account of this, he ends up with superhuman strength, durability, agility, healing. The suit basically repairs itself if he's injured. He gets enhanced hearing, infrared night vision, stronger senses. He has a trident also that he's able to summon and control it through the suit remotely. It even shoots fire. So he ends up with a lot of really cool powers on account of this suit. At number 7, we have Hellstorm, son of Satan. The full name really does kind of say it all, but let's get into it. So Satan, or the Hell Lord, decides he has wanted a child with a human being for too long. So he's gonna go get some of that human lovin' to gain more power, of course. As you do as Satan, you want that power. So he goes to, of all places, Massachusetts with a secret identity. He marries a woman, has 3 kids, kind of has the whole thing. And then one of them is Damon, the son of Satan. After his mother dies, he finds out his true birth. Although the pentagram on his chest, I guess, wasn't enough of an idea, he meets up with Dad/Satan, and Satan tries to get him to come to serve him in hell. However, once Satan sends him back to Earth, he decides he's going to fight against his father instead. What a nice guy. But instead of doing it a smart way, training, have a training montage, learning his stuff, he just tries to fight him right away and fails. However, he happens to grab some really sweet things on the way out, specifically a satanic trident and a demon horse-drawn chariot before returning to Earth, so now at least he has a sweet ride throughout the issues. He also discovers his dark soul powers inherited from good old Dad. This gives him superhuman strength and the ability to project soul fire from his trident. He can sense the presence of the supernatural and can cast spells to teleport between dimensions as well. At number 6, we have John Constantine. It might be a slight stretch of the title, but hear me out, I have my reasons. He gets his powers from the supernatural, and at one point John's body contained demon blood, which is what allows him to channel magic and cast spells without actually facing the costs of using magic. I think it counts. His origin story is a little all over the place. He experimented with magic at a young age before he realized there was a price to use it. He did a really powerful spell to try to make him a super powerful magician, but it ends up killing his family. So then he kind of dabbles in music off and on with different girlfriends here and there. Sometimes bad things happen. He becomes a rock star. He falls in love with this woman named Veronica, and then he loses her due to a spell gone wrong. And then that turns his focus purely to magic, I guess to try to understand it better, or to try to fight the forces of it. Constantine rarely uses actual magic though, unless he really has to, especially in combat. But he can perform many different acts. To name a few, he can summon demons, he can travel interdimensionally, he can do exorcisms, necromancy, energy projection, like solar energy so that you can use it against vampires. Blade would love this. He can make illusions to trick people. He can make protective circles, teleportations, telekinesis, invisibility, mind control, etc, etc, etc. It really depends sort of what writer was writing about him at the time. My personal favorite tidbit though is this moon blade. So it's a magical weapon and it changes shape depending on the phase that the moon is in. And when someone is killed by it, their spirit goes into it and then Constantine can kind of call on them. Pretty cool. At number 5 we have Magik. Now Magik was born a mutant already. Colossus is her brother. However, she was kidnapped by Belasco, who was an evil sorcerer who worked with the Elder Gods to be granted immortality and all this immense mystical power, which is why he has this super demonic appearance. That's why I think this works. He brings her to Limbo, where he turns part of her soul into a bloodstone, and one of his servants is constantly beating her and being super mean to her. But his spells give her considerable magic power, like her teleportation discs. Throughout her lifetime, she becomes much more powerful and sort of takes over the place. She ends up being able to have access to both black and white magic. She magically used her life force and eldritch energy to make a soul sword, which can disrupt magic spells. She also has mystical armor, which appears around her, called eldritch armor. It adds horns, a tail, hoofs, giving her a really demonic appearance. She also has an impenetrable sonic shield that telepaths can't get through, and many other powers that have been seen over the years. At number 4 we have Hellcat, who's actually going to tie into one of the ones we already talked about. Patricia, or Patsy Walker, has a normal-ish upbringing, but later on in life meets up with Beast, who is now a member of the Avengers and agrees to help her become a superhero. So during a ride-along mission that she's on, they come across a catsuit worn by Tigra, and she puts on the costume and assumes the identity of Hellcat. Now I know what you're thinking, what does this have to do with demons? Hang tight, number 7, here it comes, here it comes. So Hellstorm, son of Satan, they end up meeting and they get married. Eventually though, she's driven mad and she commits suicide, and then her soul gets stuck in hell. There, she has to go through all these gladiator-like combat scenarios, and she also learns to develop her psychic powers, and then Hellstorm eventually tricks Hawkeye into returning her spirit to Earth. And she gets to keep all that demonic power and new skills that she learned while she was there. She has natural athletic abilities already, but develops others through training with different characters like Moondragon, who gives her more martial arts training and enhances her sonic potential, allowing her to use telekinesis abilities and resist mental control, for instance. She gains magical resistance, enhanced strength, speed, agility, endurance, reflexes. I feel like so many superheroes have that, but that's why they're superheroes. She can also summon her costume at will, and it wields retractable claws and grappling hooks from her wrist, so she has a good setup. At number 3 we have Blade, my personal favorite vampire hunter. Ooh, okay, torn with Buffy, but you know. For this one, we're calling vampires demons, which I think isn't really a stretch. As you may already know, Blade's mother was bitten while she was in labor with Blade. She's bitten by Deacon Frost and then dies during the labor. Some vampire enzymes are passed on to Blade, but not all of them. As he grows up, he sort of swores to avenge her by becoming a vampire hunter. Now, because he wasn't turned into a vampire, not actually bitten directly, he has a lot of their powers without having their drawbacks. He can smell supernatural creatures, has a much longer lifespan than your average human, and is immune to the normal vampire bite. And just like many of the heroes on the list, he has superhuman speed, agility, strength, stamina, healing. Some really great healing at the end. At number 2, we have one you really can't argue, and that's Ghost Rider. I know, shiver. The movie was not good at all. I mean, Nick Cage, I'm gonna stop there. We don't need to rehash it. So Ghost Rider started out as Johnny Blaze, at least in the first one. Johnny Blaze is a stunt motorcyclist and had to sell his soul to a devil named Mephisto to save his surrogate father from dying of cancer. It's complicated. Sadly, he ends up dying anyways, doing a wild stunt involving jumping over 22 cars on a motorcycle. Dad, you're a little crazy. Calm down. Later on, Blaze becomes a Ghost Rider and starts exhibiting things like being able to sense when evil is around, his skin turns into hellfire, giving him that amazing effect of his head becoming a flaming skull. He also rides around on a fiery motorcycle that can travel faster than any conventional vehicle. It can defy usual physics by riding on vertical surfaces, it can jump across huge distances, and even drive across water, so he's kind of like motorcycle Jesus. He also wields blasts of hellfire. That is a supernatural flame that burns the soul of a person, but can also be used to burn their physical body as well. He's virtually indestructible, has superhuman strength, and is notoriously hard to injure because, I mean, bullets and knives can just pass right through him. There was a time where a knife went into him and just kind of melted. So, pretty great superpowers overall. Now, different versions can do different things, like hellfire breath, or the ability to produce chains from either his throat or chest, and the ability to travel between incorporeal realms. Pretty stacked demon character. Finally, at number 1, we have Spawn. I have to say, this is one that jumped into my mind right away. I still think about that old movie and I wonder if they're ever gonna remake it. 1997, what a year to be alive. He started life out as Albert Simmons, with a salesman as a father and a devil worshipper as a mother. Interesting combination. He goes through life and becomes a highly capable assassin for a US security group. He gets decades of hand-to-hand combat and martial arts training in a ton of disciplinaries. He also is a great marksman and swordsman already. But then he gets backstabbed and murdered and ends up in hell, where he makes a deal with a demon to see his wife just one more time. However, it means he has to become an undead hellspawn, so when he gets back to Earth, he's missing a lot of his memory, he's badly disfigured, but now he has magic powers. But he's also strapped with a monitor, the clown, aka Violator, just to kind of keep an eye on him, you know? He has different powers over the series, but here are a few. He has superhuman strength, durability, speed. It's also worth noting his living symbiotic costume. While wearing it, it's actually bonded to his central nervous system and it will protect him even if he's unconscious. And it has like skulls and spikes and a shroud and chains. So it's a pretty great whole armored set. And there you have it. The top 10 superheroes who got their powers from a demon or demon type characters. Let me know who I missed or who your favorite demon powered superhero is in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get notifications and never miss a video. And this has been Top 10 Nerd. I'm Kat Jovi. Thanks so much for watching.